pickup video on Memorial Day vacation this week. Awesome! Got a few pickups. I was in Knoxville, Tennessee this past week. Actually, I was in Maryville, Tennessee. And I visited this really cool store while I was there. It was recommended to me by one of my buddies. It's called the Looney Bin. And it's down in Maryville, Tennessee. It's a really cool store that has a lot of DVD, Blu-ray movies in there, but there's a lot of retro game stuff as well. Really friendly owner of the place. The theme of the whole store is like Looney Tunes. There's Looney Tune characters hanging from the ceiling and all kinds of stuff in there. It's actually a really cool store to visit. So if you're in Maryville, Tennessee, in that area, or passing through, give that store a visit. It's a pretty neat store. Now, let's look at some of the pickups I've had this week. Now, one of the first things I picked up is this Tomy Pocket kissing game. This is pretty funny, man. You basically spin the little thing. Bing! Oh, wait a minute. Try it again. Oh, got stuck. Oh, there we go. And then you see what it came with. The guy's happy, and always getting a kiss, so he's all happy. That's pretty funny. Next thing I picked up for my NES is a game called Rockin Ball. Now, I love pinball games. And this has a nice little selection of different types of pinball games. It's got a regular pinball game. It's got like a pachinko type game. It also has a what's that called? A competitive game where each player sits on either side of the pinball table and they throw the ball back and forth. That's a pretty cool mode. And there's a fourth mode. I can't remember what it was now. It's hockey and soccer. So you play hockey or soccer using like a little pinball play field. It's actually a pretty cool game to have. Like I said, I love virtual pinball games. So I'm pretty happy to add this to my collection. This was actually given to me by the guy that runs the Looney Bin store I just talked about. I thought that was really cool that he gave this to me for my collection. So I'm pretty happy about that. Also for my collection, I picked up for my PlayStation 2, Fireblade. Now, I like helicopter flight simulators and games in general. This one was put out by Bally Midway. It's a good game. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Steel Talons, a little bit. The hardest thing I have with this game is trying to get used to the controls. It controls really funky. It's got some weird controls on it. So, yeah, I'll play it some more. I'll get used to it and try to play it some more. But still, it's still a fun game. I think I got it on my GameCube, too. And then for my PlayStation 2 collection, I picked up Flat Out. This is a fun racing game. One of the things I like about this game is it shows real-time damage on your car as you're racing around the track and has fully destructible environments. If you wreck your car too hard, your little guy will come flying out the window and flinging through the air going, oh! That is so freaking funny. Never really played this game before until I found it on my PlayStation 2. I know it's on the Xbox, and I think there's some sequels to this out as well. I really enjoy this. This is a really fun racing game. It reminds me a lot of Demolition Derby on my PS1. I used to love playing that game. So I'm pretty stoked to have this in my PlayStation 2 collection. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Also found, now this is pretty cool, I found a Sony Watchman little handheld TV and radio. This is pretty freaking awesome, man. It works. Of course, it's not getting any TV stations because, you know, everything's went to the digital signal and all that good stuff. But, you know, if you can build yourself your own little transmitter, little small transmitter, you can probably transmit pictures to this. It does have a video in jack, so you can put a picture on here if you want to. It's black and white. But I remember using these back when they came out. I had a buddy that had one of these, and when we go to a football game or something like that, and they were televising it, he could watch it on this and be at the game at the same time to see the replays and stuff. So, a lot of memories for this. Pretty cool. It came with a really nice leather case as well. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Also, for my handheld collection, I picked up Computer Chess from Mattel. It's swell. So I like playing chess, so I was pretty happy to get this in my collection. My plan is to pit this against the Atari Portfolio. So that'll be a nice little side-by-side versus match between a Mattel Electronics computer chess and the Atari Portfolio chess program. So that'd be kind of fun to do. Now this console you probably have already seen. I've done a video on it already. But I picked up one of these Ricochet Formula 500 consoles. I have never ever seen one of these before. And one of the neat things I like about this Pong console is it has a computer player. So you can play Pong by yourself. I'm not really seeing another Pong machine do that. I've been trying to do a little research, see if there's any other Pong machines out there that came out in the late 70s, early 80s that feature a computer player on the console. So this is, I like the artwork on this thing. This is a really neat Pong console to add to my collection. Love this thing. It's a lot of fun to play around with. Next up, I was given this by my buddy from Retro Artifacts. He gave me Ice Hockey from Radio Shack. This is pretty neat. Now I got to do some work on it because the motor's not running inside. But you have little dials here that you can control your players. And you can move these forward and backward like a joystick to make the players charge up and down the ice. So everything is there. I just got to get it working again. This is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to making a Toy Tune video about this one. Then, of course, for my pal from Ed Ladden Controllers, I've got my Super CV ColecoVision joystick. I've already done a video about this, so most of you have already seen it. Pretty nice little joystick here. I love this thing on my ColecoVision. Now, on a future episode of the Toy Tune, we're going to be covering the little baking powder diving subs. This one was given to me by my pal, Paul, from the Televisionaries podcast. I'm planning on doing an episode, on the next episode of the Toy Tune, talking about the baking powder diving subs. They were cereal premiums and cereals back in the early 80s, late 70s. The toy has been around for a number of years. I've never seen this variation of it though. This is called the Flippy Sub. So I'm kind of stoked to have this in my collection, and I'll talk about this on the Toy Tune. I also plan on making a video about the baking powder subs. I'm going to try to collect a few of the different ones to make a video showing all the different kinds of baking powder subs that there were. I think they went clear back to the 50s. Pretty cool little toy. And then the last thing I picked up, which I'm looking forward to make a video about, is the Daredevil 500. Awesome! Battery-operated toy, flings these cars up around loop-to-loop, jump through the hoop, and back down again. I had a buddy who had this toy when I was growing up, and we loved this thing. So I was pretty stoked to find one complete in the box again. So I'll be doing a video about this on the Toy Tune here pretty soon. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So that's pretty much it of all the pickups for this week. Hope everybody's going to have a great Memorial Day weekend. I sure am. So until next time, everyone, catch you later.
Nello, what are you doing?